Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another weather forecast. In today's weather update, there are notable weather pattern changes coming to the United States that you all need to be aware of, including another blast of much colder air coming, and then a big warm-up is returning. And then we will be explaining why the weather pattern change is coming and how long will it last into December. Welcome back, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here, and as we do take a look at our current weather satellite imagery across the United States, we can see many areas, in fact, are seeing pretty calm, quiet conditions. Unless you're over the Great Lakes, that's where we are seeing a little bit of lake effect snow that continues to fall, and that is because we got some much colder air that has filtered into the region. But it's only going to get colder as we go into the end of this work week, into the weekend, as another blast of much colder air is on the way. While a lot of ridging happens across the west, in fact, Oregon and Washington, you can see on your screen showing some dense valley fog. Yeah, got some stratus there, and we even have some stratus in portions of the San Joaquin Valley over the last few days, and that's because of this ridge-like pattern setup, bringing above normal temperatures to some of the higher elevations above the inversion, whereas if you're in this fog, you're seeing it near to below average temperatures locally. But we all know the weather pattern that we're currently in right now will not last forever. In fact, there are early indications by the early to the middle of next week there will be some drastic weather pattern changes coming, with cooler, wetter weather back across the west, with warmer and drier weather returning across the midsection of the United States. I do apologize if I was not able to track that winter storm across the Appalachians and the Northeast during Thanksgiving and Black Friday. It is because I was doing Black Friday shopping myself, and I was out with family celebrating 3 different Thanksgiving events on top of work. So last week was absolutely insanely busy for me, and I'm glad to be back making these videos all for you because I truly do miss you very much. So with that being said, let's get talking about the upcoming weather pattern for the rest of this work week, into the weekend, into early next week, because yes, there's a massive snowstorm that is going to be unleashing another bitterly cold, chill Arctic outbreak for the northern tier of the United States and across the Great Lakes and the Northeast before this switch happens by the weekend into early next week. So this is for Wednesday, December the 4th, 2024, our last month of the year and our 4th day of meteorological winter. It is not officially winter by astronomical standards, but by us as meteorologists. Well, I'm not a meteorologist, I'm a weather enthusiast, self-taught. But you get the idea. Our 4th day here on the model showing us we are in winter, and it feels like winter out there, believe it or not. So going forward here by Thursday morning, my goodness, another winter storm impacting the Northeast, including the Great Lakes. Big time lake effect snow, much colder temperatures, and some strong winds as this Arctic high pressure system moves further south. So yes, another bite to the temperatures. Gonna feel like winter out there for a lot of you folks doing any traveling. You like the snow, you like the colder temperatures, but it's not going to last for too much longer. By early next week, we'll get that pattern flip, and you can see the lake effect snow already decreasing as we go into Friday, and then eventually into Saturday. We do keep some of the lake effect snow going over Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, but after we get past Saturday and Sunday, goodbye lake effect snow, and welcome this warmer air coming off the Gulf of Mexico. You can see more rainfall going to be on the return over Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas by Sunday. And then by Monday morning, December the 9th to 2024, you can see some showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two across the upper Midwest and the deep south here of the United States. So some welcoming rain. You all need it down there in Louisiana and Mississippi again. And then more snow for the Rockies. But take note, nothing for California. Big old fat ridge of high pressure likes to take flight over the west. Well, not really a ridge, because we do have a trough here going to bring in northerly flow, drier air, no fog issues. The stagnant air is going to go bye-bye. Goodbye, stagnant air. It's all because of that northerly flow, drier air advecting into the area. Maybe I will have to make a lecture on this YouTube channel on how fog develops, because I've been doing some studying on that recently with our Thule fog on how it all forms. That for another day. By the time we go into Tuesday and Wednesday next week on the 10th and the 11th of December, what are we missing, you might ask, over the Great Lakes? Well, we're missing snow, and that's because warmer than normal temperatures will take flight over the area, and it's all back to rain over much of the Northeast and even for the upper Midwest, such as Indiana, Ohio, and portions there of Illinois. And then going on beyond that, the pattern does not look to favor much in the way of cooler air. More zonal flow, warmer air advection across the Midwest, cooler air retreating back to the north in Canada will lead to warmer temperatures finally for some of those that do not like the cold just yet. Now, speaking of colder temperatures, there is another whammy coming of colder air. This will be the last one before that pattern shift happens, as we just talked about, right? So there's a cooler air over Indiana, over the Great Lakes. That's bringing in temperatures, daytime highs in the 20s, overnight lows still down there into the upper teens, mid-teens in some areas, and some single digits in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. But guess what? It's not over. By the time we go into Wednesday and into Thursday, another shot of colder air comes on down from the north into, say, the northern plains like the Dakotas and Minnesota. Could see temperatures in the single digits. Well, more than likely the single digits. But yeah, you might be flirting with negative temperatures. Pretty early to see that in December, to be quite honest. This doesn't typically arrive until the early to middle part of January. So it's pretty early for a lot of this. And so there could be additional wind chill advisories or wind chill warnings. And that is just because of how cold it's going to be. And that's going to continue. Look at these overnight lows for Friday morning. Ethan is probably looking at me watching this video and saying, holy cow, it's going to be cold again. Yes. Kokomo, Indiana, Indianapolis. If you're going north across northern Indiana, temperatures are going to be in the upper teens, low teens, maybe some single digits. Not very fun to be in, to be quite honest, with temperatures in the single digits across much of Wisconsin Friday morning. And then once that pattern change comes by the weekend, we will moderate those temperatures a little bit. By Monday morning, feeling above average again for those overnight lows in the upper 40s, low 50s. Yeah, it's not going to feel so much like winter anymore as that warmer air advects northward again. And then I don't see any big signs of cold Arctic air masses thereafter through the 11th and the 12th of, say, December, according to our European ensemble forecast. All 51 different versions of the model put into an average, giving us a blend of the most likely possible scenario. Now, looking at those temperature anomalies, green, blue shading is temperatures below average. Orange, red shading are temperatures above normal. And you can see as we go over the next 2 to 3 days, there is that last big shot of much colder temperatures. Look at these temperatures anywhere between, say, 15 to almost 25 degrees below average. That is significant for this time of the year in early December. And as that moves through, it's going to kind of hang around for a few more days. And then by the weekend, guess what happens? Temperatures warm up to above average. You got orange and red colors over your area, indicating that temperatures will be at least 5 to 15 degrees above normal for this time of the year, including even up there in British Columbia, Alberta, Canada. Going to see temperatures above average, and really nothing big in the way of cold Arctic air masses coming by early next week. Maybe a little bit of a modulation there of cooler air, but anywhere between, say, 3 to 5 degrees below normal is all you're going to see. Nothing too extraordinary to where we're going to have one of the worst Arctic outbreaks on record. We're not going to see that. Otherwise, temperatures down here in the southeast would be 30 to 50 degrees below average. We're not even going to see that. Some modulation, modified cool Arctic air coming out of the north, but nothing big. And then, of course, warmer up across the northern tier of the United States, and that will end the 10 to 15 day forecast here on the temperature anomaly standpoint. And actually, we'll go even throughout the entire model run, and you can see even on the ensemble here, through the 18th of December, it looks like that cooler air will be well retracted into Canada, and not much of it comes into the United States. Now, the reason why this pattern change is coming is the jet stream, all right? In simple words, we're looking at our 800 or our 500 millibar height chart here. In simple words, it's kind of like using temperatures, but we're looking at heights in the atmosphere. Lower the heights, the cooler the temperatures typically are. Not always, but that's how it typically works. When you have above average heights or higher heights in many areas like you see here across the West, that means temperatures are typically above average or average, in other words. So you can see where the ridge of high pressure is across the West, where the trough is across the East, anything in between. With this northwesterly flow, you're getting cold air advection from higher latitudes. And that is why many areas, you name it, in the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, the northern plains and northeast, are seeing temperatures above normal. And you can see this is going to continue. There's your last trough, northwesterly flow behind it, going to drag in that cooler air out of the north. But watch what happens. The pattern changes in about 5 days. By Sunday morning, December the 8th, zonal flow, westerly flow. We're not seeing much northwesterly flow anymore. It's all out of the west, even out of the southwest here, that subtropical branch moving into the southern end of the United States, going to advect that warm air. Okay, and this continues, ridging across the east and the west, troughing in the middle, modified cold air going to be in place by the middle of next week, and you can see that lifts up to the north, and look what happens. Very zonal-like, in fact, some above average heights here over much of the Midwest and the eastern seaboard. And again, that's going to allow temperatures to be warmer than average. So this cold stretch of air that you're seeing now since literally Black Friday and, since Thanksgiving, that's going to come all to an end in the next 3 to 5 days, as that ridge builds in. And you can see here by the December 16th and 17th period, you have that ridge, and more zonal flow into California means more chances of rain could be on the return for the West, with drier conditions returning, warmer too for the eastern half of the United States. Now, speaking of precipitation, when we take a look at those snowfall forecasts, this is the 10-1 ratio from the European ensemble, all 51 different members, blending this into an average. And so you can see most of the members do continue to show snow across the Great Lakes into the Northeast, whereas most of the members are not showing much in the way of snow, just a little bit here and there. Very little chances, though, over portions of the upper mid or the northern plains like Nebraska, the Dakotas, and Kansas. In other words, use the ensemble as probabilistic. So lower the snowfall amounts here on an ensemble means lower confidence in the forecast, in other words. Okay, rainfall anomalies here, or precipitation anomalies, yes. Red and brown across California, in fact, significantly below average, perhaps record dry conditions on a weekly average standpoint over central and northern California after getting a deluge of atmospheric river moisture in around Thanksgiving and just before that. One extreme to the next. That's what you call a California hydroclimate whiplash. And then, of course, down here to the deep south, you have above average rainfall. But overall, really dry here in the midsection and the western portion of the United States over the next 10 days on average. But the pattern flips after that on a precipitation standpoint. You can see less extreme dry conditions in California, although below average still, not as far below average as what we're seeing now, and then turning wetter and warmer over the eastern half of the United States. Well, anyways, if you found this video really helpful, detailed, and informative, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, and share this video with your family and friends on social media. As always, make Tuesday a great day here on the 3rd day of December. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow.